And what is your name again?
John Heverlow. A friend of mine is a truck driver, and she was out unloading a bunch of rock up in the woods up here in Estacada, above Estacada a ways. And when she showed up to dump the rock, she got this very eerie feeling. So she gets out and she looks down and she sees some footprints that are damn near still steaming, and they're just huge. And she took pictures of them, and they were definitely some kind of footprint, but it was, like she put a piece of wood next to it that was, a couple feet long or whatever it was. And this footprint was a solid over 20 inches long and like 8, 9, 10 inches wide. And there was a couple, and it was muddy out, so that's why she noticed it. But and she dumped a rock, only stayed for a moment after she saw the footprints, and just got this very eerie feeling like somebody was watching her, and so she dumped and just left out of there, and that was that. And but she did get pictures of it.
Wow, how long ago was that?
It was a few years back. It was like 5 or 6, maybe 7 years back.
Did she show you pictures?
Yeah, she did.
Really?
On her phone, and I just went, wow.
You still talk to her?
Oh, yeah. At times I do. She shows up.
Come in and bring some pictures?
Yeah, I would tell her to do it. Her name's Tina Long.
Okay.
And
will you ask her? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I would. And I had another friend of mine that not much with the Bigfoot thing, but he worked up to the Shell station, and he was taking pictures of formations, really weird formations of clouds in the sky.
Yeah.
And right there right there at the station, across the street there used to be that old gas station, and then there's those little concrete bridges and the stuff that runs right there across the street from the Shell station. Well, he takes a picture and he starts looking at the picture, and what does he see? Oh my God, it's a little troll guy, and he got him perfect with a double-sworded axe that he's holding.
Wow.
And the little troll guy, he's looking back at Jason at his phone because he knew he got it, and he was so pissed.
Wow.
And it was right there by those little bridges right there. But I mean, no, this.
Where was this?
Right here in Estacada, Shell station, on top of the hill.
Huh.
Right across the street there's those little concrete bridges. I used to work there also. But,
wow. It's kind of a magical area, huh?
Wow. No, I mean, no, you could not believe it. There's no way. Jason doesn't know how to doctor anything. He didn't hear doctor anything up. And he goes, look at this. And I mean, it is right by the bridge. Right?
Really?
And
did he bring that in? Like,
yeah. Or if you get a chance, go by the station up there.
Mm-hmm.
And he works during the day.
Oh, really? At the Shell station?
Yeah. And his name's Jason, right at the top of the hill up there. He should maybe still have that picture, because I've asked him a few times after that. This was a few years back too.
Okay.
You still have that picture, and I believe he said, yeah, he still had it. But no, it was just too. I could not believe it.
How long have you lived in Estacada for?
Oh, almost 15 years now.
Okay. How many times have you heard of just stories of
a lot of stories? What I heard up here is that the Indians back in the day buried their dead up here.
Okay.
Up in Eagle Fern Park.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you go up there and you see how the trees are twisted and nothing really grows straight up there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very eerie place. I know the locals have been here forever.
Someone was telling me yesterday that the news reporter, I think Mike Lowry, saw a Bigfoot in the Eagle Fern Park, and it was on the news in the 80s.
Yeah, I believe that.
And he goes, you haven't been to Eagle Fern Park? And I go, no, I haven't had time yet to do that. And basically he goes, yeah, you got to go check it out. That's where they've had a lot of sightings right over here.
Yeah, people won't go there after dark and stuff.
Really?
Because the locals won't be. And here's a friend of mine that he wasn't even from around here, and he went up there and was checking it out on his motorcycle, and he said he got the most eerie feeling about just the presence being up there. But yeah, a friend of mine has a really interesting theory about, because she's from up here, and she was running from the police for a few years, and she was up in the woods here running because she knew some people up here, and she'd stay into the house. They all show up, so she goes running in the woods anyway. She got a theory about Bigfoot, that Bigfoot is ET, and the way that he can survive very long is he attaches himself, or he has to be close to the most, uh, um, the one thing up here that is the oldest, which is trees. As long as he's around trees, or could be right by trees here up there in the hills,
I
then
just heard something about that yesterday. It was like a quick little reel that popped up, and it said if you put your bare feet on the ground, the earth is actually really healing, and there's like a grounding effect with the earth. And a lot of us aren't doing that. We're working inside,
Sure.
we're not getting sunshine.
Oh yeah, you're in the city of concrete.
But like even today, it's beautiful. It's sunny. The air is blowing in Estacada. The river's right across the street. It feels nice, and you feel like you're healing. And I could see that where you go up and you like literally want to hug a tree, and you feel like you're healing with it. So that would make sense.
Cindy was saying that's how they because she's been up there like at 3 o'clock. Let's see, was it 12 to 3, 3 to 6? Certain nights when it's clear out doing what you're doing, and she hears screams, and she hears
Really? Who's this?
Her name's Cindy Laws.
And she lives over here?
Yeah, she doesn't talk about it too much to anybody about it, that she doesn't know at all, because most of the times when you start, I was dating her for a while, and so she kind of opened up to me quite a bit about things that she's seen up here, things that went on, and her theory is that the Bigfoot is an ET, and they come in that form because that's just a costume, but they have to be next to the oldest thing that lives on the earth. One of the oldest things up there is trees, and as long as they're next to a tree, by a tree, or around trees, then they can attach themselves, and then that's how they come in. That's how they come into this world, is kind of like that way, and so that's how they have to leave. And from what she says, she thinks that that's why they have to wear the suit, because coming into this world that way, and it still hurts them like hell. It's very painful for them, is what she thinks, leaving and coming in. But that's why they have to have that suit on to be able to survive the trip, and to be able to survive the trip back.
Yeah.
And
that's an interesting news.
Yeah, she's even said that they've talked to her, like, and she's communicated with them, either ET or just I think it was through Esther, where they were both thinking of, and he
so
was
like they weren't talking like with their lips, but they look at you and you can hear them.
Yeah, and she could hear them, what they were saying.
Yeah,
and they wanted her to be a mother to one of their, but she was too older. She was old, and she probably wouldn't have survived.
No, I've heard of that. Like I've had dreams about people that have passed in my family, and they'll come see me in a dream, and they're talking to me, but they're not moving their lips. They just look at you, and it's a telepathic experience. Yeah. And I've heard other people on YouTube have stories about these experiences of dreams, and like people that have passed over coming to see me, and they also don't use their lips and talk. Now, how could so many people be saying the same thing
with it being?
I'd never heard that from anybody, and I actually had a dream about Bigfoot a couple weeks ago, and it could be I'm listening to all these podcasts and stuff, but it almost looked like when you're driving on 211, how you have these like tree fields and stuff, and he was just kind of standing there really tall, like with the tree, and he just kind of looks over at me, and I could hear what he was thinking in the dream, and it felt really real. And I woke up and I go, oh gosh, I'm getting too deep into the Bigfoot stuff, but it was pretty neat.
But maybe not. I mean, it's because Cindy's been around, and she said that she communicated with him that way. Okay. She was out in the woods, right?
Interesting.
And when she was out in the woods, and they talked to her and wanted to know like her age, how old she was, if she's had kids before. She never did, and we want you as basically a serial mother to, but I guess
Well, that
She said
sounds
because
pretty
of her
cool.
age, because she
Okay.
was like over 45 or over 50, that
Interesting.
they were afraid that she wouldn't survive the whole deal, and
Well, and tell
it
us
might
your
kill
name
her.
again.
My name's John Heverlow.
Well, thank you so much for being
Yeah,
on the podcast today. And if you
sure.
think of anything fun, we can always get you back on again. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. If I can get Cindy to come over and talk to you and halfway open up to you,
All right.
wow, I'll
That
tell
would
you
be
what.
awesome. I'd appreciate it.
She blew me away, and I mean, and
We'll tell her to
at
come on
first,
down.
when I was listening to it, I was going, oh, she's had maybe a couple many drinks, and she's just
Yeah.
she had a beauty, but then she said the same thing to me more than twice.
All right. Well, there's
About
got to
all
be
that.
something.
Yeah.
I'm open to hearing all these
Oh, yeah.
stories. I don't know. It's their experience. I love hearing it. But thank
That's
you so
good.
much.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
I'm gonna wrap it up today,
Good.
and then
Yep.
next time we'll get you on. All right.
Yeah, sure.
All right.